مساء الخير.
مساء النور يا سعيد، ازيك؟
الحمد لله كله تمام، حضرتك عامل ايه؟
الحمد لله بخير، الله يكرمك. خلينا نتعامل مع بعض نطرح ما وقفنا المرة اللي فاتت. بس
كانت الالكترونيك كانت اللي هي الشيل والسب شيل والاوربيتال.
ممتاز.
Recording in progress.
مستر مطرح ما وقفنا امبارح كنت بتشرح كتابة، ما كناش على كويز او اي حاجة.
بالظبط، تمام، هنكمل دلوقتي اهو. I hope you can see the screen now. Chat. اوكي، طيب احنا قلنا ان we are dividing the shells and we said the shell or the energy level has a number of n. So if the number is 1, so it is in the first energy level, second is 2, and so on. So my number n equal to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. This is the energy level. And the energy level or the energy shell is divided into subshells. And we said n is equal to 1. Then the subshell can be only one type, which is S. And n is equal to 2. It has subshell S and P. N is equal to 3 or third energy level. Subshell is S and P and D. N is equal to 4. So this subshell S and P and D and F. So when he asked us, where did the first time you see an S? You see an S in 1 or anything more than 1. You see a P in 2 or more, D in 3 and more, and F you see it at 4 or more. And then further division, the subshell S is divided into one orbital only. It contains only one orbital. And this orbital contains 2 electrons. And P contains 3 orbitals. And these orbitals will contain 3 and 2 each. So the total is 6 electrons. D contains 5 orbitals. And the 5 orbitals contain 10 electrons. Because 5 multiplied by 2. And then last one will say F. F is 10 orbitals. F is 7 orbitals. And these 7 orbitals, each one carries 2, so 14. So here 10 electrons, هنا 14, هنا 6, هنا 2. So the shell is divided into subshells. The subshells are divided into orbitals. قلنا hydrogen has 1 electron only on it. And if you want to distribute it, we will say that the electron can be placed in the first energy level, number 1, and it contains only S. It's called 1s1. So this means that this orbital, which we can draw as a box or as a line, we can draw it as a box or as a line, and we can draw 1 electron inside it only, like that. The second from the periodic table, which is 2, so the second in the periodic table, which is 2, contains 2 electrons. So still I will put them in 1, and then S, the only one subshell is S, contains 2 electrons this time. The power is not called power, it's called 1s2 direct. It's called 1s2 direct, which means that in the first energy level, there is one shell, one subshell called S, and it can contain only one orbital. This is the orbital that's drawn as a box or as a line, and it can carry 2 electrons. These 2 electrons I will draw in opposite direction, which means they have an opposite spin. Opposite spin, why it's opposite spin? So it prevents them from opposite spin from repulsion. So it prevents repulsion between them because both of them contain the same charge. Now let's go for the periodic table and see. Let's go for the periodic table and see if we can find this out from the periodic table. يعني ممكن اروح للperiodic table directly وابص على الperiodic table واعرف منه ايه هو الكونفيجريشن بتاعي. Let me see. I will share now. Okay, if this is my periodic table and I'm sharing now. I'm sharing, it's okay, no need, it's fine. I will share it now. Okay. So this is a periodic table. So I have hydrogen. Hydrogen has 1 electron. So it's called 1s. So this is 1s1. And then helium. Actually, helium has to be here. So helium, this one, actually has to be in the correct position. أنا بدور على correct position بتاعتها. So it is here. يعني it's here يا مستر. يعني if we draw it like that. Why it stopped again? Here. So it should be beside the hydrogen. So it should be in the period number 2. لكن أنا وديته هناك في الآخر خالص عند الهيليوم عشان هو مع النوبل جازز. لكن هو المفروض أساسا مكانه في الحتة اللي مكتوب فيها atomic symbol ونيم والويت الكلام ده. المفروض مكانه هنا أهو. طيب هيفرق ايه الحاجات المكان دي هنعرفها. خلينا نتكلم في الاليمنت اللي بعده اللي هو الليثيوم. How many electrons lithium has? The lithium has 3 electrons. So 3 electrons, how I'm going to distribute them? I will say the one again contains
1
S
S
and
2
then I will say 2.
3 أنا 2 ماشي.
I cannot put more than the 2 electrons, so I will say it is 1s2 like that. أو أرسمها كده أهو. It can be drawn like that or like that. In a higher energy level, in a little bit higher energy level, عشان كده حتى لما حاجة هرسمها I will draw it in a higher place, so I will put like that. I can find then
ممكن بس تشرح الأوبوزيت سبين تاني؟
the opposite spin. These 2 electrons are in the same orbital, so this is the nucleus, and one of them is rotating like that. I call this the counterclockwise, and one of them is rotating like that. We call this the clockwise. واحد فيهم بيلف في الاتجاه ده، وواحد فيهم بيلف في الاتجاه ده حوالين النيوكليوس علشان يقللوا شوية الريبالشن. بما انهم هما الاثنين both of them they contain negative charge, so it's better not to be spinning in the same direction, otherwise there will be some repulsion. That's why it's better to make opposite repulsion so that they minimize the opposite spin, so they minimize the repulsion between them. That's why when I draw them inside the orbital, this is the box that's representing the orbital. I will draw them like that, one in this direction and one in this direction. طيب, I finished already the 1s2. Now I need to go for the next. Why do you want to go to the next? Why you don't stop at the 1s2? Because I have one more electron and I have just finished 2 out of the 3. So I finished 2 electrons, but in fact I have 2. I have 3. Then I finished 2 and I stopped. Why did you stop here in the helium? Because I have only 2. Why did you stop at 1s1 in the hydrogen? Why you didn't say 1s2? Because in the hydrogen you have 1 electron. So you cannot say 1s2. We have to say 1s1 and stop. So the only element in which I will see this 1s1 is hydrogen. I will not see anything else in the periodic table with a configuration that says 1s1. The only one that will have a configuration called 1s1 is hydrogen. Why? Because from after that, every element that you see should contain at least 2 electrons or more. So the hydrogen is the only one that contains 1 electron, right? All the other elements contain either 2 electrons or more. So you cannot say 1s1. You have to always say 1s2 in them. Again, the only element in the periodic table that you will see configuration says 1s1 is the hydrogen. The rest we should say 1s2. So in all other elements, you will see me writing after that 1s2, 1s2, 1s2. Why is that? And continuing, of course. Why is that? Because it contains more than one. Here only in the hydrogen, I stopped at 1 because there is no more electrons. طب helium, it has only 2. Why did you stop at 2? Because it contains only 2 electrons. I'm distributing them. What is the meaning of configuration? I am telling you where are the electrons located. So when I say 1s2, I'm telling you that the first 2 electrons are located in the first energy level, in the first subshell, in the only orbital in this subshell. It contains only one orbital, right? Called S, and S contains one orbital only. طب when you say one in lithium 1s2, 2s1, why did you draw it up like that? Because it has a higher energy level. So what do you mean when you say the configuration is 1s2, 2s1? What do you mean? It means
في
that
في 2 electrons in the first level وفي 1 electron في second level.
very good. And I specified also that in this level, it contains one subshell only called S. And this subshell can carry only 2 electrons in its only orbital. So it will be called 1s2. When I say 2s1, what does it mean? It means I moved to the next energy level. Why did you move to number 2? Because number 1 is done. Why it is done? Because last time we said it contains only one subshell called S, and this subshell contains only one room or one orbital called S, and this S can carry 2 electrons. So if you are going to place the third electron, of course, you have to go to n equal to 2. So you have to go to what? N is equal to 2. So the third electron will be placed here. It's called 2s1. It's called 2s1. Right. Mister, what is the point? What is the point of going to the periodic table and looking at the periodic table? The periodic table will help you in something that we will know later. You can know the configuration of the last point, and where it stops. Here it stopped at 1s1. Here it stopped at 1s2. Here it stopped at 2s1. The next one, which is boron, is going to stop at 2s2. So I can automatically, from the periodic table, as I will show you, know where it stops. So the lithium is beryllium, I'm sorry, beryllium. I will tell you where it stops automatically by looking at the periodic table, and I will teach you how. So again, do I say 1s1? No, خلاص, the only one that I can see 1s1 is hydrogen, and we are not in hydrogen anymore. I will say again 1s2. From now on, from helium, I'll start to saying 1s2. I will never say 1s1 again. And then these are the 2 electrons. And then do I say 2s1 or 2s2?
2s2.
2s2. Yes. Why you didn't stop at the 1? Last time I stopped at 1 because the total was 1 and 2 was 3.
3.
But here this time it is 2 and 2. Sorry.
يعني بس الرقم اللي هو على شمال الاس is the level والرقم اللي فوق الاس ده number of electrons on that level صح؟
Exactly. The number
تمام.
on the left is the level, and the number which is looking like a power is the number of electrons in this orbital specifically. In this, not
تمام.
on this level, in this orbital, in this 2s. Okay? طيب, what is
Okay.
after beryllium? Let's look at the periodic table. After beryllium, I have boron, which has 5 electrons. So let's start. Boron. So boron is 5. Again, I will repeat the same story.
1s2
1s2.
و 2s3.
I cannot put 3. The S has one orbital, and the orbital
اوكي
carries a
ماشي.
maximum of
2.
2. The S will
اوكي
never contain either 1 or
اوكي
2. It will never contain 3. So this
اوكي
is the 2.
1s2 بعديها 2s2 بعديها 3s1.
Okay, 3s1 is a good idea if I have only S subshell in the P, in the second energy level. But actually, I have something other than S, which is
P.
P. So I have to go and fill P first before I try to look at the next energy level. So I have something called P orbital inside, or P subshell, right? Inside the second floor. So first floor has only S, but second floor has S and has something called 2P. Type. The P is a subshell, right? The subshell
تمام.
contains how many orbitals?
3.
3 orbitals. So let's draw the 3 orbitals. The one orbital S was drawn as one box. The 3 orbitals will be drawn as 3 boxes. And how many electrons you said you still have?
بس I think فاضل لنا 1.
One only remaining. So I'll just draw it inside here. That's it. And when I write 2P, what do I write? 2P what? Here I have
2p1.
2 and here 2. And here I will write the last one remaining. So it is 2P1.
بس ليه في البورون البورون استخدمت بي وفي البريليوم استخدمت 2 اسز بس؟
Because I didn't have any more people to live in the next flat called P. I don't need to go for P because I don't have more people. I have just 2 people here. I have these 2 guys and these 2 guys. So I just have 4 guys. No need to open another flat. So I'll keep this P
فماكسيمم
flat
يكون فيه
closed.
2 اسز بس صح؟
Yeah, I don't need to open the P flat because I don't have people to live in it, right? Here
اوكي.
I open the P flat because this guy still needs to live and these 2 are already occupied. That's why I have to open the 2P flat or the subshell. But since here I have 4 and I can accommodate these 4 in these 2 flats, the 1S and the 2S, then no point of going for the next flat. Otherwise, if I opened it, it will be empty. And there is no point of saying 2P0. Right? Because if I wrote 2P, I will write 2P0. Anything that has in configuration 0 is automatically cancelled out. I will not write it down, that like I will see later. Okay, so
ماشي.
no point.
ودلوقتي in general لما بجاوب الأسئلة I can put a maximum of 2 S levels صح؟
What do you mean by 2S levels?
يعني ما ينفعش أكتب S 2S 1 S 2 S و 3 S.
I can go for 3S if I have more electrons later, like I will see in the following elements. So I can even go for 4S and 5S and 6S, but everyone will come in its correct time. If you have more people, you will assign for different energy levels. If you have 100 electrons, you will go further and further, like we will see. Okay, now I need to again point out as a periodic table. And actually, my idea in looking at the periodic table, because it will help me a lot in remembering the energy levels. The only difficult point, because as you see, I'm just repeating. Every time saying 1s2, 2s2, there is nothing new. So only at the beginning, it's a little bit difficult to remember this. So we will have to find a way. Now, the teachers always is giving the 3-way. If you looked in this class, the teachers are always giving the 3 ways. They will say, you write 1S and then you write 2S and then 2P and then start, it will give you a 3-way. So you remember 1S first, 2S first, and then 2P like that. But my idea is always that if I have a periodic table, then what is the point of going and finding another resource or drawing a tree? Because I can find and use the periodic table only. It will be more than enough. This is my idea. I don't need anything else other than the periodic table. Only if I understood the relationship between the periodic table and the configuration, then it will be very easy. Let's have a look. So copy here and then put this one here, and let's have a look at what is the point of looking at the periodic table. So let's imagine the elements again, or we can even go to the previous page and put this one in it. Well, let's try to have a look, and I'll put this one here beside us and have a look. I will always see the periodic table and try to put it beside me like that. Oops. see. Oops. Now, right? Okay, let's just make it a new one. So this is again 1s. So what is the relation between this and what is the relation between this and the configuration? Mr. The numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are actually the numbers of the period number. So this is period 1, this is period 2, this is the horizontal rows, right? These are the horizontal rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these are the group numbers. So this is actually the energy levels. So this is the first energy level. So when I put hydrogen as 1s1, when I said hydrogen is 1s1, I meant to put it in the first energy level. Do you remember saying whenever you look at the periodic table, you will see what is the end? So hydrogen ends in 1s1, okay. So anything that ends here, like hydrogen and lithium and sodium and potassium and rubidium and cesium and francium, the end of the configuration will be S1. Well, let's see. Do you remember what was hydrogen? It was 1s1. What was lithium?
2s1.
Yes, so you started with lithium 1s2. So you started with 1s2 and you made 2s1. So anything that ends here, its configuration will end with S1. And anything which ends here, its configuration will end with S2. Do you remember when we said the helium should not be here, it should be here? Yes, because what was the configuration of helium? 1s2.
2.
But what about beryllium? It's not 1, it is period 2. So it ended in what? Let's have a look. Beryllium ended in 2s.
2.
2s2. Why it's 2? Because it's in period 2. Why s2? Because it's in group 2. So any element in group 2, its configuration will end with s2. Any element in group 1, its configuration is going to end with S1. So I can just follow the periodic table, yeah, mister. That's very easy. Okay, tell me what's hydrogen? So we will
1s1.
learn, yeah, we'll learn how to use the periodic table and only the periodic table. Hydrogen is 1s1. What about this one? Oh, that's helium. It should be
Helium
1s2. But what about lithium? I will begin from the beginning until I reach lithium. 1s2, 2s1.
S1. وبعديها 1
Beryllium,
2s1.
beryllium is 1s2 from the top, 1s2. With my hand, I will go like that on the bin. 1s2 and then 2s. Do I
S1.
stop and do I stop at 1 or go to 2 for
Top
beryllium?
at 1.
Why?
Beryllium,
Because so
you go to
beryllium I
2.
will go at 2. Yes. So lithium only I stopped at 1 because it's here in group 1, but beryllium I will go to 1s2, 2s2 again because it is in group 2. That's why in the periodic table this will be called actually the S block. So this is not something that I invented. Like I did not invent this method, I just used it because actually he will ask you in the exam what is the name of this block. It's called S block. So why it's called S block? Because all the elements inside it, its configuration ends either S1 or S2. Right. Do you remember what did we say about boron? Let's go up for the boron. It ended with what?
2p.
With
1.
2p1. Why it is not called p1p1? For two reasons. The first thing, it is in period 2. That's why it's called 2p1. The second thing is that why it's not, there is nothing called p in the first energy level. Oh, mister, I can see that actually. There is no p here, right? There is no p here. There is not. The helium should be here, right? So there is
Right.
why this is empty? Why this is empty? There is no p. There is no 1p1. That's why this is empty. There is only 2p1. So when do you start to see that the p in 2?
Boron.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So what is the configuration of carbon from the periodic table? Let's go with the
1s2.
let's carry the pencil or the pen. 1s2,
1s2. 2s2.
2s2. Shall I stop? No,
لا.
continue. And then
2
2.
2p2.
Very good, 2p2. So do you want to say, Mr. Also, that anything that ends in this group, which is group 3, will always end with p1, and this one will always end with p2, p3, p4. Wait, mister, what did you say about the number of orbitals in p? 3 orbitals. And they contain how many electrons?
6.
Oh, that's why p4, p5, p6. And that's going to be called the p block.
P block.
That's going to be called the p block. Very good. So I know that carbon ends in p2 without doing the whole configuration, because I know it's here. It's in group number 4. Anything that ends in group number 5 will end with p5. Any noble gas should end with p6. Any noble gas will end with p6.
6.
Okay, very good. So I can just use the periodic table to make the configuration. But let's draw the carbon first. Let's draw the carbon, because I'll be asked to draw it as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. How do I draw the 2p6? Last time we give an idea. You have how many electrons remaining? I finished 2 out of 4.
6.
Out of
4
out of 6. So I have 2 more. The first one, I placed it here. The second one, as we said, we should not put it in the same orbital.
block.
Every box from this represent an orbital. There are 3 orbitals. And that's what? That's the p subshell. So the 3 rooms are the flat called, that's why we called it a flat. It's a flat. The p subshell or the p subshell or the p flat. The p subshell or the p flat contains how many orbitals or how many rooms? 3. Each one carries 2 electrons. So the whole flat or the whole subshell carries how many electrons? 6 electrons, 2 in every orbital. We even call this px, py, pz. So where are you staying? I'm staying in the second floor. In which subshell or which flat? In the p subshell. In which room? In X room, px. What about the next electron? It tries to get away, so it will stay here. In which energy level or which floor? In which floor? Second floor. I'm still in the second floor or second energy level. And then which subshell? In the p.
The p.
In which orbital? P
Third.
y.
Py.
Py.
Second.
Very good. Okay, what about the next element? The next element is nitrogen. Mister, now I can know from the periodic table where is nitrogen ending without even writing everything. I know it will end in which period?
Period 3.
2 or
P3. 3.
It will end in P3. So I know that configuration of nitrogen will be P3 and even P3 without doing everything, because it's in the second energy level, or N is equal to 2, and then P3.
P3.
Okay, so P3,
okay.
But let's try to prove this is correct. Let's go from the beginning, carry the pen in our hands, and say 1s,
2,
2s,
2,
2p,
3.
3. So that was correct. Yes. 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. We draw this like that. We draw this like that. And then p3, how many electrons I have?
3.
They are total of 7. So I put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. 1 in the px, 1 in the py,
1 in the py, and 1 in the pz.
PZ. Very good. So our prophecy was correct. It ended in P3 just by looking here. That's why I'm always saying no need to make any trees or anything as the teachers are saying. I'm having the periodic table in front of me. I can use it directly. I will never forget what is the arrangement. I cannot forget because I can see them. This is S block. This is S block. Then P. This is 2S, 2P. And then what do I have after? I have 3. How did you know it is 3? Because this is the period 3. How did you know it's period 3? The number is 3. And how did you know it is S after that? Because this is S block. Now, what if I try to make a mistake? I try to make after 2P, 3P. I will ask you, you want to go to 3P? Okay, but what about this? These two, why did you miss this 2S block? So you will never forget. Let's see the oxygen, fluorine, and neon in one shot. Oxygen, fluorine, and neon in one shot. Mister, you don't do anything new. 1s2, you will even copy and paste. 2s2, 2s2. Mister, I don't like how you explained it. I will memorize it. Yalla, no worries. I don't care how do you do it. My method, the other teacher's method, you memorize it, you write it on your arm before you go to the exam. I don't care. I need you just to put it correctly in the لا طبعا الكلام ده مش صح. I need you to find a halal way, okay? So 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 3, 2p4, 2p5, 2p6. خلاص, that's it. Mr. 2p6, you said anything noble gas should end in p6. So any noble gas will end in P6. That's what the periodic table is telling us. Except which noble gas? Except the helium. What did the helium end with? It ended with S2. Why we didn't go to P6? How do I go to P6? I don't have electrons. I just have 2 people. So except helium, the rest, all noble gases are going to end with P6. And the rest are pure repetition. Okay, let's take our breath for a few seconds and then we will say what's the rest. Like an example in the exam, he asked me to draw. But before we go to the next, we'll see what happened when we have 4 electrons. I'm still in the P flat, struggling with these guys. And the first time I put 3, now I need to put the 4th one in the oxygen. So I don't have an option now, right? Should I go to the 3s? No, this flat is still full. So never put other energy level unless you finish the lower levels. Like we explained, this guy who is having the building says, Mr. You have to finish N1, then go to 2, then go to 3, then go to 4, then go to 5 and 6 like that. So where is the 4th one placed? Oh, I'll have to put it here in the PX. Where is the PX? Here is the PX. So put it in the PX, but it should be what? Reverse spin, right? Opposite spin. Now, what about the 5th one in the fluorine? Where do I put it? Here. Now, what about the 6th one in the neon? It has to be here, okay? I have to practice this by hand and writing it, and I do it as fast as possible because if I left it until tomorrow, it's going to evaporate. So I'll bring my paper and start writing fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, sodium, and then so on. Okay?
تمام.
Let's see for the next one, which is sodium. What do I do when I move to the next energy level? So let's bring a new and fresh periodic table, which is a little bit cleaner, and then we'll use it, not for any reason except that we want things to look better. So this is our periodic table. It should be pasted here, but for some reason, the device forget it. Okay. Have it. Screenshot it again. Okay, so let's see the next one. The next one is sodium, but we will delete everything except what we agreed about. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anything here ends with S1, S2. Here, P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. Okay, so I am talking about sodium now. What should I do with the sodium? To write the same story. Sodium has 11 electrons, right? So let's go from the beginning. 1s, 2, 2s, 2, 2p, 6. Why I'm not stopping at 1s1? Mister, why should I stop at hydrogen? That's why using the periodic table helps me not to forget. Why should I stop at hydrogen? I will say 1s1 only if I am at hydrogen, but I'm not at hydrogen, I'm at sodium. So go on, continue. 1s2 and then 2s.
2s2.
Yeah, somebody will tell me 2s1. Why do you want to stop at lithium? You are going to sodium. You are moving all the way until the element. So if you asked me about the configuration of this element, you will take the whole trip from here all the way until down until you reach to the selenium. Now don't stop at any element before it. Don't stop at 2s1. Why you say 2s1? You are not at lithium. You are at sodium, right? So go on. 1s2 and then 2s2
2s2.
and then
2
2
2 P2.
2p. Why should I stop at 2? Why should I'm not at carbon. I will say 2p2 if I'm at carbon. No, go all the way until 2p
6.
6 and go on. What is the next floor? Should I take the stairs? Yes, go up. Why is go up? Because it's finished here. I don't have any place more for these guys. The 2p6 are already done. The flat is with those 3 rooms, px, py, pz is all occupied. You don't have any more flats. You have S and P only. Mister, what about D? I don't have D in the second. The D is starting where? The third and
Third.
more. So I don't have. I have only S and P, and both of them are done. The first one has 1 room, and the second one has 3 rooms, 4 rooms with 8, so it's done. So I'll go for the next one. 2p6 and then 3.
3p.
Why should I say 3p? 3. This is a p block. What happened to these 2 blocks? The s block. Why should you? Are you sad? Are you angry with the s block? Why you didn't say 3s? So I should only first start with the s. Okay. So the last thing was 2p6. Now there is 3.
3s2.
Okay. Did I stop at group 1 or group 2?
Group 1.
So anything in group 1 ends with
S1. 3s1.
S1. So it will be 3s1. Let's count the electrons to make sure that it is correct.
2,
2.
4, 10, 11.
Do you remember when we started explaining this the last time? This is what I told you. And instead of just saying 2 and then 8 and then 1, instead of telling me the address, I have 2 in the first floor, 8 in the second floor, 1 in the third floor, I'm explaining it in more details. So this is the 2 electrons. And then this is the 8 electrons. Both of them are called 2, Mr. 2s2p. And this is the third one, the last electron. Oh, so all that I did is just I'm explaining it more. And instead of telling you in the first floor it is 2 and then shutting up, I'm telling you these 2 electrons are in a subshell called S, which has 1 orbital. And now I'm telling you, instead of telling you in the second floor I have 8, أنا عندي في الدور الثاني 8, I'm telling you this is divided into 2 subshells. 2 in the S subshell and 6 in the P subshell. And then I'm telling you in this P subshell there are 3 rooms. Each one contains 2, so the total is 6. And then the third floor is 1. So 3s1. So this is only an extra configuration. This is an extra division. بدل ما كنت بقول لك where are you staying, so you tell me I'm staying in the second floor. No, I'm telling you in which flat? In which subshell? In which orbital? Oh, mister, I'm staying here. I'm this one. So instead of just telling me I am somewhere here, you are telling me I am exactly in this flat, exactly in this room, right? Exactly in this P flat, P subshell, right? For example, you might be anywhere else, right? In the beginning في الأول كنت بتقول لي إيه I'm here مع السبعة دول، صح؟ مش فارقكم عن بعض. Now I'm telling you no, actually we are 8, we are staying in either S or P. I'm telling you أنا هنا بالظبط، مش لازم، أنا ممكن يكون بكلم على واحد تاني، واحد هنا أو واحد هنا. But I'm very specific now. Where are you staying? Here exactly. خلاص؟ طيب. So 3S1, the total is 1. He will ask you in the exam which period you are in. Which period you are in. How should I know which period, Mr. Period 3. How did you know it's period 3? Period 3. Why it's period 3? Because the last number that's showing, the last number is 3. The last number is 3, right? طب what if I ended in 2? فين عندي كل اللي فوق دول ended in 2, right? This is ended in 2. 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 Why they ended in 2? Because all of them was in period number 2.
Period number 2.
طب this one and this one they ended in 1. So sodium, hydrogen, and the number was 1. Why they ended? Why there is no 2? Because both of them, hydrogen and helium, is in period number 1. That's why they ended in 1. So how do you know the period number? You know the period number by looking at the last number. What is the last number here? 3. But what if I find an element like silver, and the last number in silver was saying, or let's say something easier, let's say trillium. Trillium. What is the period? I see the last thing in trillium here was 5p4. Which period? Which period is trillium? I look at the periodic table, it's 5. But how to know it without the periodic table? What is the last number
Look
that I can see?
على level.
So last number is 5.
That's number 5. Oh,
So period
5.
5. 5. How to know which group it is in? Which group from the configuration? Because Mr.
بص
he will not always give you something from the periodic table. He will tell you element X. He will tell you element X, its configuration is 5p4. Which period it is in?
بص
ملوش حاجة
على
اسمها X.
اللي هي اللي جنب ال P to the right.
The last number, right? طب which
Yeah.
group? How do I know the group number?
تبص على اللي هي اللي شكلها زي الباور.
If it is S1, S2, P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. So S1 it is group 1, S2 group 2,
Group 2.
P1 group 3,
Group 4.
group 4,
Group 5.
5,
Group 6.
group 6,
Group
group
7.
7,
Group 8.
group 8. So how do you know the group number? From the last configuration. Right, let's see the next elements after sodium. Let's take our first break بس 2 to 3 minutes, grab water and then come back. طيب وصلنا لغاية مين؟
حد أعتقد كان اللي هو التليريوم.
مغنيسيوم. يلا قول معايا.
مغنيسيوم
1s2
هيخلص في BS2.
2s2 2p6 3s2. حلو.
آه،
الألومنيوم 1s2
2
2s2 2p6 3s2 3p 3p
3P 3P1.
3p1. سيليكون
فين السيليكون؟ اوكي. تخلق
3p2.
3P2 و
فوسفورس 3p3. سلفر 3p4. كلورين 3p5.
3P5
أرجون 3p6.
3P6.
كويس. الدنيا سهلة اهي. يجي في الامتحان يوم قايل لي انت فاكر الدنيا سهلة؟ اه سهلة. طب قول لي ال Na بلس مين؟ يس Na بلس the ion. What do you mean by the ion؟ يعني lost electron. طب when I have an ion what to do؟ First draw the atom. اعمل الاتوم. configuration of the atom. ماشي. If you lost an electron, if you lost an electron, remove it,
النمبر
delete.
هيقل.
طب if you added an electron
النمبر هيزيد.
هيزيد. لو عندك كاتاين زي الصوديوم يبقى بلس الكترونز. طب لو عندك اناين زي الكلورايد يبقى ماينس الكترونز. يعني ال Na بلس اعمله لك ازاي؟ اعمله عادي خالص. البريدك تيبل جنبك ممكن تمليني 1s2 2s2 2p6 3s1 صح؟ يس 3 هنا وهنا 2 هنا 1 يبقى 3s1. يعني ده اي حاجه هنا s1. فين الالكترون اللي انت شلته يا مستر؟ I will remove this electron. يعني اكتب ايه؟ اكتب 3s0. لا احنا قلنا اي شقه ما فيهاش حد بنقفلها صح؟ الشقه
هنشيل
دي ما
ال
فيهاش حد.
3S على طول.
هشيل الشقه كلها خلاص. وهكتب ايه؟ 1s2
S2 2S2
2s2
2P6.
2p6. كويس. زي ما كان بيقول لي اعمل لي الصوديوم بلس فكنت بقول له this is 2 and 8. نفس الكلام ادي 2 وادي 8. This is 2 and this is 2 plus 6 is equal to 8. حلو جدا. اوكي. طب لو عندي كلورين بلاش كلورين فلورايد ماينس. فلورايد ماينس is 1s2. ونعمل فلورايد الاول وبعد كده فلورايد ماينس 1s2 2s2 2p 2p كام؟ ما تبص بقى على البريدك تيبل وتساعدني. هم 9 يبقى 2p 5.
5.
Now I need to add electrons ولا remove electrons؟
add electron هتطلع 2P6.
2p6. Okay, what did we notice? When I added an electron, it become like the neon. When neon, we said
بقت
that it
نوبل.
ends. Yeah, it looks like the electron configuration of the noble ممتاز. And when you lost sodium also one electron, it returned to become neon. Okay, very good. So it become like the noble gases configuration. Okay, طيب. The next question is what to do after argon. So I have potassium. What to do after potassium? Mister, I will still use the periodic table. It's not difficult. Oh, please don't tell me that you forgot it again. Oh, I know how to do this. I will come here. Yes, I remember now. Okay. Potassium. What happens with the potassium? The element, of course, not the ion. So one of the scientists said, oh, what is the big story? I have to repeat this all the time. Can I do an abbreviation? Yes, do an abbreviation. I need to summarize this story. I will not do this every time. So I will start with the last noble gas. The last noble gas before my element. What is my element potassium? What was the last noble gas I met in my way? When going my way here, the last noble gas before potassium is?
كريبتون ولا أرجون.
No, argon. I did not reach to krypton yet. Still going after the one before. So it is argon. So instead of writing the whole story of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, because if you notice the story is becoming very big, 3p6, I will delete all of that and write, what do I write? Argon between brackets. So what does argon between brackets means? It means I have summarized it all this, and I will write argon bracket. Means if you want to see the configuration starting from now, look at argon for your reference. This one I canceled all of that and put argon here instead of it. So potassium is argon, and then what is after argon? Which floor is that? Is it third or fourth?
Fourth.
Fourth. So I will write 4, and it's ending in S1 or S2?
S2. لا S1 S1.
S1. Do you see the importance of the periodic table now? That even if you make abbreviation, you don't need to look what was the last. مش محتاج اشوف الارجون كان عندي ايه. عارف الطرق التانية, the problem in the other method is that you have to go, you made abbreviation to make it easier for yourself, but then you have to remember it is 3s and then 3p. رغم ان انا عملت abbreviation لكن لازم احطهم في دماغي. انا مش هكتبهم I'm not gonna write them, but I have to put them in my mind. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s. لا. In this method you don't need to do anything. It's here. So it is 4 and then S1. خلاص. طب what if I need something from you here? You will say PI. Oh, that's very easy. Mister, in the other methods, you still have to do it in your brain. 1s2, 2s2, or write it, 2s2, 3s2. لكن هنا, what is this floor? The last element was xenon, right? And then 6. 6 or 5 or 7, 6. 6p, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. 6p3. How did you know, mister? This is p1, p2, p3. You see, I don't have to do what? I don't have to look at the previous elements. مش محتاج أكمل. خلاص? So looking at the periodic table give me everything I need. What about indium? Can you do indium? What was the last noble gas? It was krypton. And then I am in 5 or I am in 6. I'm in 5. 5p what? P1.
5P1.
That's P1. خلاص. Okay, so let's go and continue after potassium. Why we are continuing after potassium? I got the idea. Because we have something different now. We will have to look at 1, 2, 3, 4. I need calcium. Calcium is 20 electrons. Every time I will have to make sure that my electrons is counted correctly, right? This total is 10 electrons. This total is 9 electrons. Sorry, this is 9 electrons. This is 10 electrons, like the noble gas. Right. What about calcium? Calcium is 20. You said you can abbreviate or you can do it full. If he didn't ask you to abbreviate, you have to make it full. 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s.
4S1.
This is calcium, so it is 4s.
لا كالسيوم 4S2 افتكرتها اللي تحت دي. ماشي 4S2.
Okay. So let's see the method of the other teachers of the tree and see how our method is much, much better. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm sharing correctly. Let's see here. The orbitals, I don't know what they call it. Orbitals 3. We will do it. The teachers will ask you to write like that and write 1s, then 2s, 2p6, and then make the arrows like that. So you know what is the correct arrangement. So in the exam, you have to write this 3 so that you know that 1s comes after it, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d. What is this? What if I made a mistake drawing it? That's why the periodic table is much easier. I will tell you why. The only trick here is that when you go here for scandium, what is the scandium? So scandium is 21. I'm in a new block actually. I am in a new block. It's called the D block. This is the block of the transition elements. We didn't ask ourselves, Mr. You said here S1 is for group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. Oh, P1, you Mr. What is? Why it's not doing? P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. But what about the noble gases? Noble gases are in 6. In the D block. Mr. D block, how many orbitals? D, how many orbitals in D?
There is 5 orbitals.
5 orbitals means how many electrons?
10.
10 electrons. So let's go down. So I have D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6. D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. Anything here ends with D6, D7, D8, D9, D10. So scandium is what? D1. Mr. What is the number? Is it 4 D1? Is it 4 D1? No, it's not 4 D1. It's 3 D1. So starting D, I will do a trick. So in D block, -1 from period number. What is the period number? Why is that, Mr.? Because if you noticed, we did not talk about 3D. We said D is available from 3 and more. So I cannot say 4D, right? Because I still did not talk about 3D. This is the location of 3D. So starting from the D block, what is this period? This is period 4. I should say 4D, Mr. I will always subtract one number. So it will be 3D. What does it mean, Mr.? Yani if I have an element here, I will not say 6D. I will say what? 5D. Platinum, I will say platinum 5D. طب لو أنا عندي المولybdenum, this one. Should I say 5D? No, it will be 4D. So always subtract one number. مستر لما بعملش الكلام ده في S ولا B صح؟ لما كان عندي السيلينيوم هيبقى 4P صح؟ 4P مظبوط؟ Did you get it؟ طب سترونشيوم هنا 5S. البلوك الوحيد, the only block in which I subtract one number is D. يعني ايه يا مستر؟ يعني انا عندي هنا انت بتقول لي السكانديوم. Where is the scandium? This one. It should be 4D, right? No, it will not be 4D. It will be what?
3D.
3D. Why it will be 3D? Why it will be 3D? Because what?
It's in D block. لازم تعمل -1
It's in D
from the
block.
period number.
I have to subtract one number. So I have to subtract one number. It will be 3D. طب if I have molybdenum here, it will be 4D. What if I have platinum here? It will be
5D.
5D. طب if I have something in the P block here, again after that, I will go back to my regular numbering. He will be 4P or 3P?
4P.
4P. طب وهنا plutonium
4P.
6
Oh لا 5D.
لا هنا plutonium, this one, last one.
Oh, plutonium
6P ولا 6P مش بنقص حاجة. I only subtract in this. I only subtract in this one. Subtract كم? One number. So scandium will be 3D1. مستر فين الحاجات اللي قبليه يا مستر؟ don't forget. I have to write it. So what was the previous noble gas? خد بالك, if you didn't tell me to abbreviate, I should not. But now I'm abbreviating. What is the previous noble gas before the scandium? The noble gas before the scandium is what? كده كريبتون بعدين سكانديوم. كريبتون ولا ارجون يا مستر؟ ارجون. It's argon. So it is argon. So argon bracket. And then what's after argon?
كريبتون.
بالراحة. في هنا ايه الاول قبل اللي بخش على الدي؟
بوتاسيوم وكالسيوم.
اللي هم كام الانرجي ليفل كام؟ 3 ولا 4؟ 4. خد
4.
بالك انا عايز اقول الاس الاول. 4 اس
4 اس 2
3 دي 1. طب ازاي ارسمه ده يا مستر؟ 3 دي 1. طب تريليوم 22 ارجون 4 اس 2 3 دي 2. طيب تيتانيوم خلاص. فانيديوم 23 ارجون 4 اس 2 3 دي 3. طيب manganese. Can you tell me manganese just by looking at it? What will be manganese? It will end in what? It will end in what?
D5.
Manganese will D5. It will be manganese will be 4D5
لا
or
3D5.
3D5. ممتاز. Very good. So it will be 3D5. Mr. What about the ions? I'll do the same thing in ions that I did in the other ions. نفس الكلام. I will subtract. If a flat is empty without any person in it, you have to close this flat. What is the meaning of closing this orbital or this flat? يعني if you have 3D0, don't tell me I have a flat opened called 3D. No, cancel it out. Close the flat and see the previous one. So if you have 3s2 and 3d1 and you removed one electron, so it becomes 3d0. Don't say 3d0. Say what? 3s2 only. Okay? Right. Before going to the last thing, which is some questions, we'll have two exceptions, very important exceptions, and the only exceptions in the periodic table. What are the exceptions? They are having a little bit trick. The cobalt and the chromium. That's why I skipped the chromium, the cobalt and the chromium. Can you tell me what are the, before the exceptions, what are the configuration of chromium? It's 24 electrons and cobalt. Let's take it as an exercise. Without abbreviation, cobalt is from the beginning. Cobalt, chromium is what? Without abbreviation. 1s2.
3D4.
لا without abbreviation. From the beginning.
Okay.
1s2.
1s2. 2s2.
2s2.
وبعديها 2p6.
Very good. And then
3s2.
very good. And then
لحظة احنا وصلنا كام؟
this is still 3 and this is B block.
بعديها 3p6 تاني.
And then
4s 4s2.
And then chromium is
chromium. It's gonna end in D4 صح؟
D4. Okay. And then what D? 4D?
3D4.
3D4. طب where is the exception يا مستر? In the chromium something strange happens. You take one electron from here and keep it here. Thanks God this happened in only chromium and cobalt. The rest are all okay. What does it mean? يعني I will not write it like that. I will write it like that. 4s1 3d5. After why it's like that, no need to know why. It's like that, 3d5. This is the correct arrangement of the electronic configuration. Type cobalt with abbreviation, yeah, Mr. It's argon. And then after argon, what is there? After argon, what is there?
after argon في potassium وكالسيوم.
So it is 4s
4s 2
3d or 4d?
3d
3d how much?
3d 3d للكوبالت
1 2 3 4 5 6 7.
3d7.
No, so it's not cobalt. Who said it's cobalt? It's copper. Oh my God. I'm just sleepy. Sorry. Become very late. It's copper. Very sorry. How did I say cobalt? It's cobalt. It's chromium and copper. Sorry. So it is 3D. 1 2
9
3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I will do the same exception. I will do the same exception. So it will not be like that. It will be
4s2
argon
3d9.
4s. I'll take one electron from here, put it here. It will be 4s 1
1 3d9
10.
10.
3d10. If you want to know the explanation, I will say it one time and then I will stop it first. The electrons and the atoms prefer to be either full or half full. يعني إيه؟ يعني the configuration like that is better than this one. This is called half filled. Half filled. This is called not half filled. ده فيه 5/10. ده فيه 4/10. So he doesn't like 4 out of 10. It prefers 5 out of 10. So we'll take one electron from here and make it more stable. No need to know this explanation. Just know that the substitution is like that. So not only that the substitution is like that, and then you will never draw it like that. So don't draw it like that. Make it with the exception. Only in the chromium and in copper. 1 second. I'll be back. Sorry, side. Okay. So should I draw it like that or like that? No, there is no choice. It should be like that. Ah, I deleted the wrong one. It should be like that only. So I will make the configuration and then remind myself this is the right one. 4s1 3d5 in case of chromium and 4s1 3d10 in case of copper. Only I will do this so that I know what was it originally before the exception. Okay. What if I have an ion? I will do the same thing. So copper 2 plus, Mr. Remove 2 electrons. Should I remove the electron from the S or the D first? Remove from S.
the S.
So I will remove from the S. Should I write the S? While I close this room, خلاص?
Close the room.
And then I will remove one from here. So it will be 3D9. So it will be 3D9. Okay.
Okay.
We'll just take some exercises. Let me close the recording here, and then we'll have some exercises.